Hey everybody, this is Rory Francis and you're watching. Sorry, give me 1 second. All right. Having a brain fart there. It won't happen again. Okay, here we go. Hey everybody, this is Rory Francis and you're watching Manufacturing Champions. And I have my co-host, Terry Iverson, a manufacturing champion unto his own and a three-time author. And manufacturing champions, we talk about those people in the industry that truly champion and help us reshore and build our manufacturing sector and do some workforce development. And Terry, I believe you have someone here that can speak to that you have a long-time relationship with. I'm just going to turn it right over to you, Terry.
Thanks, Rory. My guest today is Kevin Sinnett, who is the former owner and founder of Instrument Development Corp. in Mugwanago, Wisconsin. Hey, Kevin, how are you?
Good morning.
So let's start off, Kevin, by talking a little bit about the opportunity that manufacturing did for you and your brother and your family, and briefly just kind of tell the breadth of where you started and took you all the way through the industry at the end when you sold your company.
That's a long story.
It is.
But it is. The point of it is that I went to school for industrial technology and never finished, and got intrigued with a friend's machine shop and worked there part-time and ended up being the foreman. And then I moved to Wisconsin and I worked for Mr. Owens at Owens Industries. And that's when we really started breeding and to talk to what you're trying to accomplish here. We worked with 6 different high schools in metropolitan Milwaukee, and I was on the board of the Vocational Industrial Clubs of America. And that's how we bred our science. Those kids are, almost every one of them ended up with a job in one of my plants. But on most of my story, almost all my opportunities were just common sense opportunities about putting techniques together that could produce the product that they were trying to accomplish. Same thing with the medical product stuff that we did. The precision machining lended itself to the ability to produce just about anything. I mean, some of the things we did were as precision and as controlled as any manufacturing process that there is. It's kind of obvious, with the end result being a 10,000 square foot controlled environment machining area that is plus or minus a degree just because of the tolerances on the parts. But most of the opportunities in my life came from people that came to me to fix it. In fact, even at Lockheed, we were known as Mikey in the cereal commercial. Nobody will eat it, give it to Mikey. It was a good career. It was a good career, and we solved a lot of problems, and some of them led to some very interesting products.
Kevin, what would you say to a young person, to your story, that thinks, that they're not either qualified enough or smart enough to get into the manufacturing sector? I mean, your story resonates and probably will resonate to many because you achieved such a high level of success.
It's I call it the breeding process, but we actually went into high schools with precision components and showed these kids what they could accomplish. And then the VICA program was so great because it created competition amongst the students. And they all knew they had jobs if they did a good, they passed through the system correctly. But that's all gone. VICA turned into Skills USA, I believe, which is hardly any manufacturing in that, and definitely not machining. Machining in general is still, one of the lead elements of finding a manufacturing process that can produce a product.
Kevin, one of the last things I want you to speak to is the process of mentoring. You mentored me as a younger peer, and of course a very naive peer. But then you were mentored by Mr. Owens. Tell me a little bit about how important mentoring is to you and to our culture.
It's everything. If you have the ambition and a person takes the time to tease you with the carrot so that you go after that, process or learn that trade or learn that machine. That's really what it's all about. But it takes that person that wants to learn. There's no question about it. So the way you do that is you dangle the carrot and give them chances and let them fail. But the bottom line is that it's a learning experience no matter what throughout the whole thing. And Bill Chappelle was actually my mentor, which you remember the Englishman at Owens in the early days. Mr. Owens couldn't turn a handle on a machine. But I do remember the day that some guy told me, will you show my kid this industry? And he showed up in a cashmere jacket and a silk scarf. And I said, go home and put some blue jeans on, and then I'll tell you about it. It was a good day, buddy. It's a good day.
Well, we've been very fortunate, and Rory, I think the message here that Kevin and I both want to propagate is that there's so many good chances for manufacturing careers, and we just have to get the word out there. Kevin, in closing, is there any closing comments that you have to our listeners?
The ability to have some programs in the high schools is gone, and I don't know how we're going to do it. Tech school is too late. They need to create that ambition in high school. So I'm thinking we have to create some other kind of training facility that we can attract these kids. I did vocational. I actually went from Libertyville, Illinois to Waukegan half days for automotive stuff back then. So that kind of thing could happen. I'd like to participate in structuring something like that. But you got to get them young. If you wait till after high school, I think you're already too late.
Rory, let's send it over to you for the final comments.
Sure, you gentlemen and touched on a lot of things, and Kevin, thank you for what you've done. I did hear you talk about working on vocational boards and actually going into schools, and the mentorship part. That is so important. Here's something: manufacturing and machining. We really, in the industry, we make really cool things. The one thing, and we do a good job at it, and I think, American machining and manufacturing does a better job than a lot of people think. Here's where we're really, really are poor. We don't self-promote. You talked about getting to the schools and show our young people some of the cool things we do. We need more of that. You talked about, getting to people younger. We know if we can get kids into STEM programs in K through 12, they might go on to be engineers and technicians. So we know the numbers and the stats and the studies and all say that we need to get to them younger. And that's, I think we're starting to see the pendulum swing that way, but we really need some help there. And it comes down to academia, the manufacturers and the machine shops, and the government all working in concert with each other. So the pendulum's starting to move. We're reshoring, and things are starting to look a little better. But we need to rethink our emphasis on vocational training. Manufacturing is cool, good paying jobs, and it's you can maybe follow this path. There's a good opportunity for that American dream. So. Terry, that's my recap. Thank you both for being champions of manufacturing. And this is Rory Francis. We'll see you next time.